So thank you very much, Jas Chohan, for coming in today. And for those who don't know Jas, she has been selling real estate now in St. John, making a major impact here over the last 6 years. She is a phenomenal real estate agent. She is also a very successful builder and a community leader. So I'm super excited to get into this podcast with you, Jas, because we just got back from Miami just about a month ago at eXp Con. And we had a phenomenal time. So we have a lot to unpack and talk about. But first, for people who may not know your story, maybe let's just go back to what got you into real estate.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of start from the beginning there.
We sure can. Again, thanks for having me today with you, Brandon, just to share stories and insights. So I'm really excited about this conversation. So for audience, my name is Jas Chohan. As Brandon said, I am a realtor in St. John. I also practice in Ontario as well. I do have a construction company, so we build homes, sell homes. But by trade, I'm an IT professional. I've worked in different corporate companies, some Irvings, some non-Irvings, so forth. But then I came to a point where, I thought, how do I use the skills that I have that I'm using to generate income for my employers? How do I use those skills for myself, right? Do what I like to do and do what I'm good at. So that what kind of sparked the real estate side of it, because we've always been investors. My husband and I, we have been in the business since 2008 in St. John when we moved from Toronto. So we have owned hotels, apartment buildings, restaurants. So from the entrepreneurship side of it, we have been at it for a while. But I think I wanted to put real estate stamp and see how it is. Like, get officially licensed and give it a try. And I only got the license as a part-time realtor. I was working full-time in the IT division of JDI, which some of you know, JD Irving. And I wanted to give this a try, and first 3-4 months into it, I figured, okay, it's a commitment. I cannot be, true to my job or to my clients in real estate if I try to do both. That was just not possible, so I had to make a choice. And when it came to making that choice, it was very clear for me is to go with what I enjoyed. Like, I can talk properties, I can talk real estate all day long. Unless you shut me down, I will keep talking about it, right? Because that's what I'm passionate about.
Yep, absolutely.
About real estate, helping people build portfolio, explaining them how the real estate game works, because it's all timing, right? When to buy, when to sell, capitalize on the market. Then I made that tough choice, tough at the time, but now I look back and I'm very proud of the moment that I did that. I'm serving in St. John for the last 6 years. I've helped a lot of clients here locally and even out of province clients. So I specialize in, of course, residential, but commercial as well. I love dealing with commercial because, again, being a business owner, I know what to expect from the other side, how they're thinking, what are the wants, right? What's their goals? So I try to put myself in their shoes and help commercial clients as well.
Absolutely. And your impact of when you came into the industry, it seems like you came in making a statement. Like, it was like you came in and you executed very well with having a lot of advertising. I remember you had a whole bunch of ads on the back of buses, and I think that the experience you had from running businesses prior probably really helped you coming into real estate, because then you're just shifting from promoting the businesses that you were in before to promoting yourself, right?
Right.
What was that kind of transition like from being a business owner coming in to being a real estate agent where we're running our own business?
Mm-hmm. I think coming as a business owner was very helpful, right? Because then you understand what the other person is thinking.
Yeah.
But I was a sales leader before coming to real estate. I was the Atlantic sales manager for a company called Source Atlantic. It's one of the other Irving companies. And that is one of my best experiences. Is I still go back and look at those 6 years when I worked with them. I learned a lot in the corporate world. I was coached a lot. And I used a lot of my sales skills and project management skills. Because again, no matter if you give up something today, the skills and the knowledge and the education that you've gotten from there, you'll always use it all your life.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did when I came into real estate full time. I used my project management skills, sales leader skills, and also business owner skills and said, okay, how do I take this new, this adventure that I'm on and make it successful? Because I had no way to fail. I could not afford to fail. The only way for me was to move forward and be successful.
Yes.
So I did, in my first year, I did a lot of cold calling. I'm not shy. I'm not scared of cold calling or talking to people. And when somebody asks me a question that I don't know, I will be honest and say, hey, listen, I don't know the answer to that, but let me get that for you.
But let me find out.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you know, when you're honest, people see that.
100%,
It's very different aura. And I think people like that, right? Because people do business with people and they know we're not machines, we're not computers.
Yeah.
There are times when, we all need to go get answers.
And I love that you said that about being honest and about being transparent with people. So anytime that you don't have an answer, like when I first started in real estate, that was a common thing that I ran into. It was, I'm not exactly sure right now because I didn't want to point anybody astray. These are big decisions people are making, right? Mm-hmm. So put your ego aside and actually, if you don't know something, go back and do some research before you tell somebody something just to seem competent.
Exactly.
Right? Don't just say something because you're nervous of the perception of, if I tell them I'm going to go back and look. That's the best service that we can do for our clients. And just like you said, they appreciate that. They appreciate the honesty of you maybe saying, hey, let me do a little bit more digging. Or sometimes you just need some more information too, right? Like sometimes people ask me a question and I'm going, well, the market changes so much and so fast. Let me do a little bit of a dig in right now to see what that kind of value currently looks like because it was different 4 months ago.
Yes.
And doing those little pauses and checks to work with people and that aura of coming from a place of honesty and of actually wanting to serve and help people too.
Yeah.
Is so important. So you had the transition and then so you had the sales. And another thing that I want to unpack that you said too, it was you're not starting from scratch when you came into real estate. You're starting from experience.
Correct.
Taking all of the things that you had done in your previous life. And same with me. Yeah. I had a background in military communications. Right. And then I was also in the trades a little bit with commercial diving. And then I went into a sales, more of a sales kind of call center position real quick at CAA for like a very brief moment, and then I dove into business after that. And then I had my a little spa that I ran with my mom. It was this tiny little mom and pop shop. Wow. And we were marketing and we had staff and we had payroll and the whole 9 yards. So
you're a business owner at that point.
So I was a business owner at that point before I even started real estate. And I realized how hard it is to actually make a dollar. Everybody thinks that a business owner just has a money printing machine. Right. But they don't realize how many things go on in the background. Payroll, you got HST, you got your corporate tax, and there's all these different things and systems and marketing and rent and all of these things that people don't take in, and even just the the point of sale systems, they cost money, like all of it, right? And then you have to track all of that. Yeah. And then you're lucky to be profitable within your first couple of years. People think it's an easy ride. Like, right. I'll just become a business owner, and then somebody hands you a money printing machine.
Well, because people look at you saying, you own your business, so you have flexibility. You don't have to ask for days off or whatever. Like when I started real estate, a lot of people ask me, "Oh, you probably just work from home, right?" Like, and I'm like, no, because everybody works differently. For me, I have to dress up every morning. I have to be ready, no matter if I have 1 showing or 5 showings or 20 showings, right?
Yeah.
My day, like the morning looks the same. I go drop my daughter off to school and I'm in the office every morning. That's how I work. Because when you show up to the office, you're ready to work. If you don't have work for that day, enough work for that day, you will create work to be busy, right?
Yes.
And,
Exactly. Yeah.
So people look at those things, oh, your flexibility, all that. But I tell them any business, no matter what business it is, it comes with a lot of baggage,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
If you are ready to take on that baggage, then you will succeed, you will thrive. But if you're scared of that, then maybe the right thing is 9 to 5. Like everybody's cut differently, right? We're all made with different fabrics, really.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, we tried corporate world, you tried military, it wasn't for us. Then we moved on to different things, and here we are talking about it.
And sometimes it's not even that it's not for us. It's maybe it was for us at that time, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
I think that's a big thing. Is I don't regret anything from my military experience, but I look back at it going, that formed who I am today, and I'm actually so thankful for everything that I've done. Every little kind of thing that I tried, I'm looking back going, and that's all amounted to who I am today.
Because that made you, right? That's the thing. Yeah, imagine yourself, like I see a lot of younger realtors, right, coming up
Yeah.
with just got the license, right? A lot of them don't even own their own homes.
Yeah.
So, if I did that, I probably wouldn't have the same knowledge that I have now. Right. So when I go around with my clients, they know we can talk properties, we can look at properties. I'm not an inspector, but at the same time, I have enough knowledge to be dangerous, right?
Absolutely.
But if I was just somebody who's done university or college and decided to get licensed, then it's a big purchase for clients. So that, again, at the end of the day, no matter what we do or anybody does, it is very important that we do our due diligence, right?
100%.
So people ask me, oh, what should we look when we're looking at working with a realtor? Could be selling, could be buying. I just say make sure you interview 2 or 3 realtors.
Yep.
Because it's a big decision in your life. And, on an average, people buy or sell only 2 to 3 properties in their lifetime, right? So it is a big decision. You cannot just say, oh, this person answered my first call, let me go with them. So again, those are the things I think things come with experience, and experience comes with age, like it or not. And age, your work habits, your experience, your education, everything compiles and then makes you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to unpack something you said a couple minutes ago about you like going into the office because once you go in, you're ready to work. And even if it's one appointment or more appointments, you're there. And if there's some time, you're going to find a way to make that time productive. So what are the things that you've learned, or the things that you do in your business to be so successful? Because you do very well on the real estate side, but then you also manage building and then all these events as well that you do. How, for somebody looking at you going, how does she do so much? Like what does that look like for Jas? Like how do you keep everything organized and what's that look like for you?
I think it's accountability is very important to me. So as realtors, we run our own business, right? We don't have a director or a manager saying, oh, Jas, what did you do last week? Or what's your plan for this week, right? So accountability is very important. So I actually learned that from one of my realtor mentors when I started in the industry. He had this sheet that he showed me and said, every Monday morning, this is what I do before I start my week. So basically it's you have your goals for the whole year, right? Because at the end of the day, we're business owners, but it's sales, right? You need to know what I'm looking at. So you need to set up SMART goals. And you set up those SMART goals because if you don't do SMART goals and you don't achieve them, then you're really going to put yourself down, right? So we don't want that. So yeah, I do set my goals for the year. So for example, 2026 is coming up. So I'll have my annual goals. So then I break them down into quarterly.
Absolutely.
Because every quarter is different for real estate, as you know. So yeah, every Monday morning I sit and see how my last week looks like. If I'm behind, then okay, maybe this week I need to go see more people or I need to do cold calling. right? Because what happens is spring, summer, we're all really busy, and even early fall for us is busy here. When you're busy, you don't really find time to grow your pipeline. So then your pipeline shrinks because you're busy. You're already doing a lot here. But when the slow time hits, your pipeline is so small, then you're scrambling for work, right? So it's just that's another rule that I've learned from the sales era of my career, that goals are so important.
Yes.
So to
Yeah.
keep to answer your question, if I say, like, for example, we have a big event coming at the end of this month, we started planning that 2 months in advance, right? So okay, this is what my job is, this is what my counterpart is doing, and so forth. So it's accountability. At the end of the day, could be numbers, could be events, could be cold calling. You need to know what your commitment to yourself is, and if you stay on top of that, you will be fine.
Absolutely. And I love what you were talking about, where there's the busy time and it's so hard to find that lead generation time when we're so busy, because we're just at that time we're focused on making sure that our clients are satisfied, that the deals are being negotiated properly, that everything's at the lawyers and things are moving along properly, and we're working with the banks to make sure that the financing's going along and checking all these things and inspections and everything that comes along with doing so many deals all at once, right?
Yeah.
It does become very hard because all those things are high priorities.
Right.
So it becomes very hard to go, where am I squeezing in the time for that lead generation? But it's so important to make that time to keep the pipeline filled, because that's a very common issue that a lot of agents run into, is the start and stop.
Right.
Where they'll have all kinds of leads come in because they did some lead generation. And as you know, everything's in this business, the work we put in today, you start to see the rewards 2 to 3 months from now.
Yeah.
Right? There's a delay on the effort put in. And that's just because, things obviously take time, and people will start to see you more. You'll become top of mind. And then when somebody's ready, then they'll kind of reach out, or, it just takes time to find properties, lock those things in.
Right.
So the work that we do now, we see, 2 to 3 months from now. And that's why it's so important to keep the lead generation activity. I just had an agent actually reach out to me asking about, do you prioritize the calls that we do? Because there's quite a bit of calls that we have that are all, depending what your goals are and kind of where you're at, that can be very important. And it's like, some people will look at a call where they're learning, or they might look at a conference, for example, and go, well, I need to focus on my clients. I can't invest that much time into me because I should be investing that time into clients. But what you kind of quickly realize is you need to always make sure that you're taking that time for yourself, investing into yourself, and even those lead generation things. That's an investment into ourselves and into our business.
Right.
When we take those times, even during the busy parts, right? And then that helps kind of build that consistency out.
Yeah.
And I find something that's kind of helped me with a lot of that is just the scheduling.
100% time management.
Yeah.
If you cannot manage time, you just won't be able to run your business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said the right thing about investing in yourself, because our business is volatile, right? And as realtors, as you said earlier, market changes so quickly. So we need to be able to educate ourselves, improve ourselves, and improve our skills to stay afloat. Right? That's not a choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just said this on the last podcast, but I want to say it again. It's the reason I love this business is because the better that we become at being ourselves, and the more skills that we learn, the better we get at communication, the better we get at marketing. Even just setting this stuff up for the podcast, this is all just a skill that I learned to be able to add onto my real estate portfolio as a way to kind of showcase who we are. I think this is super important, just because a lot of people don't get a chance to maybe hear how somebody operates on a long form. And I find long form, you really get a sense of kind of who people are. And then also too, makes for some great content that gets shareable. And a lot of people, even just from starting this back up again, I've already been sending out messages. So it's like, you become top of mind. And I think it's kind of a great collaboration for us. But let's pivot for a second and talk about some eXp, because we just got back from Miami.
Yes.
So that was is it your second eXp conference?
It was.
That was. And the first one was in Montreal.
Yeah, that was a Canadian one, and this was US and Canada.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you came from a traditional brokerage, and did you go to many conferences when you were at the traditional brokerage?
I wanted to. I always wanted to. I love conferences, right? Because being in sales, I think that's the drive that every time you go to a conference, you come home so pumped, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
I missed that after I left the corporate world. So I wanted to. The only thing is, at the traditional brokerages, what I find happens is there's a lot of repeat, right? Like, you'll see same 3 or 4 agents going every year. They have a group. It's people that have been doing it for 20 some years, right? So there's no, like, I want to be able to go get fresh ideas.
Yes,
I
yeah.
want to be able to go and say, okay, what's new? What do we need to learn? How is the market evolving, right? So I just never saw that really as a contribution to my business. So even though I wanted to, I just never did, right? Because it
Right.
wasn't making sense for me at that point. And with eXp, I moved to eXp in October of 2024.
Yeah, you're just over a year now.
Yeah, over a year now.
Yep.
And one of the things right away, I came in October and they announced the Canadian conference for spring 2025. So I signed up immediately because that's the fresh start I was looking for. Because I wanted to see, okay, what is everybody around the countries doing? Because, we live in a small city. There's a lot of realtors here, but I think there is a lot more offered outside. And, I want to learn the tactics. I want to see what's working for other people in bigger markets, right? So it was amazing. It was in Montreal, and I came home so pumped. I signed up for the Miami one already. Like, that was the last one we just went on.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly right. And that's one thing that I do love about eXp, and that was a huge opportunity that I seen when I came over to eXp. I was realizing I can now learn from agents all over the globe.
Yeah.
And I can learn from agents that are doing it at very high levels in very big marketplaces. And if I can learn something from what they're doing and where they're getting their success and bring that back here and implement that into our marketplace, then now you're kind of cross-pollinating some new ideas into your marketplace because, before where it was all very localized, everybody was learning from the same agents.
Yes.
So then you're kind of seeing a lot of almost cookie cutter playbooks coming out from that, right? A lot of similar, but then I find with some of the eXp, there's a much more kind of forward thinking that they lean much more into technology, into AI, into social media, into all of these things, and they really lean into that for their agents, and they've always kind of been ahead of the curve, even with their cloud-based brokerage.
Right.
Having the virtual world in 2009, like that's pretty ahead of the curve when you think about it. So, seeing all the opportunities coming over here, and that was something that that's actually helped my business grow, right? It's just, it's the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah,
If I didn't come over to eXp
Right.
and start to hang around people like Mike Sherrard and the Wolfpack that promote content so much,
Right.
where it becomes the norm. Like, people start to see you not posting and they're going, what's going on? How come you're not posting?
Are you taking a break?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's like, man, you need to get back on it. You were crushing it. And then you get a little bit of that kind of motivation where it's the norm and it's all about who you surround yourself with. So then you go to these conferences, and every time you go, you grow a little bit because you're learning from people who have already done what you're looking to do, or have already overcome the obstacle that you currently are overcoming, and they're able to give you a little bit of a tip on that.
Yeah.
And then you come back completely fired up. I'm still excited talking about it. I'm wearing my eXp Miami shirt right now.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and I came back and I was just vibrating for like 2 weeks afterwards. And that's kind of what sparked everything again. It's a reignition, right? It's a reignition. I think stuff like that is important in our business because
100%.
we can get into the day-to-day of just operating in the business, but then you kind of forget to zoom out and work on the business, right? There's working in the business and there's working on, and those are two different things completely. So in saying that, what was some of your favorite parts about eXpCon Miami?
Miami, I think it's the crowd, to be honest. Yeah, there's a lot of good information. There's a lot of knowledge. a lot of data. It's great, but I think one of the reasons that I moved to eXp was collaboration, because this is where I saw, okay, you can actually, because what I find at traditional brokerages, it's maybe agents help you here and there, whatever, but it's more like, oh, why would I help you? Like, you're my competitor kind of attitude.
Right. Almost like they're holding the cards a little closer to their chest.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Right. Like, so I think with eXp, that was one of the big things is collaboration.
Yeah.
And every time I go to these conferences, we meet people from different cities, provinces, even states, right?
Yeah.
That are all part of the Wolfpack. And the good thing is, if you're a Wolfpack agent, I might not even know you. I'll come, people will come just to approach you and say, oh, how's it going? Where are you from? Let's follow on Instagram. Let's help each other out. So I think it's more of a networking opportunity that I really love about it. Plus, of course, who doesn't like hearing from the leaders, right?
Right.
Because we want to, at the end of the day, we all want to lead in the industry that we're in. Mm-hmm. But then we learn from the best, right?
Right.
We learn from people that have done it.
And they get to show us their way of doing it, and that's what I love about our leadership that we have at the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
People like Mike, Connor, even other leaders throughout the Wolfpack, Louis, Adam Gillespie, John Schumann, Kyle Mark. These guys are all doing things at very high levels, and you get to be around them and you get to hear the way that they think, and you can start talking to them and kind of working through some things.
Right.
And then you get to follow them on social media, and then you see them at every conference, and then you actually start to become friends.
Yeah.
We have Kyle Mark actually coming on one of our calls. I was just talking to John Schumann 2 days ago. Like, we're staying in touch. Like, So then these are opportunities that we're having to collaborate all over, right? It's not just in our city. And I think that, especially in a digital age like we're in now, it's very important to be connected, because it's, real estate's no longer just becoming a localized thing. Like, it's very national now.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to surround yourself with the right people that are going to inspire you, that you can learn from. And we have an amazing group. And just like you said, wearing the Wolfpack hat, having the shirt, if you just walk around the conference, the power of that is why would unremarked? No, it's very powerful, because so when you're walking around the conferences and you have the Wolfpack stuff on, other people start running into you going, oh, you're Wolfpack. And just like you said, you may or may not know them.
Right.
And one day we were going out to dinner, and then there was, I think, 14 of us that had booked the dinner with us walking from the conference to the restaurant, which was only about a 5-minute walk. We collected, I think, 14 other people that were like, where are you guys going? And it was all Wolfpack people.
Yeah.
There was like 30 of us by the time we actually sat down.
Right.
And it's just like, that's the power of our group. And I mean, we do have one of the largest organizations with the fastest growing within eXp, and one of the largest too. Yeah. And the reason is, I think it's a big part of the culture. And then we get to see the way that culture's ran, having the yachts like they did for the leaders, having these special events like the rooftop party that we had, that was all specifically for Wolfpack.
Right.
And, just seeing that investment back into the culture is huge. Seeing that leadership, our leaders really do a lot. Like the weekly calls that Connor runs, the training that Mike provides, the amount of time he's spent in front of a camera to help teach the blueprint and the template, and literally give it out to everybody that wants it.
Yeah.
On social media, on Instagram, and it's all practitioners too. It's another thing I love about our group, is everybody that's teaching us is a practitioner in what they're teaching. So we're not learning from somebody saying, this is what you should do because that's what the book says.
Right, because I've never done it, but I think that's what it does.
Right. It's like, here's what's actually working for me right now. Right. Here's 700 other people that it's worked for. Like, there's like proof, right? And it's incredible. So
yeah.
I think our group is just so powerful, and the culture's amazing.
And then we got the women call too, right? So,
yes, actually, talk about that a little bit, because I've never been on that.
Weekly Wolfpack women call. So every week it's different topics, and I actually spoke on one of the calls, and I chose two topics. I chose, how to be or why it's important to be a leader in the community, and commercial, because I love commercial real estate. And initially we weren't sure how many people will be interested in commercial, because a lot of people are just happy doing residential, right? But you wouldn't believe it was just, a light bulb that just went off. Oh my God. Why did I never think about it? Right. So it's about learning from each other, because sometimes you don't think about it. Right. But when you collaborate, when you do these calls, when you learn from each other, then you're like, oh, maybe I do need to explore that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, that's just it too. Same as like, I've been on some calls and people talk about all the success they've had on building Facebook pages for their community.
Yeah.
And all the business, like some people run their entire business off of a Facebook page that they have that's about their community, where they're on there posting, and they'll post events, and they'll give like value, and they'll create little events. And then every once in a while they'll plug themselves because they're the owner of the page, and it's like, fair game. And they're building a community around that, and it works very, very well.
It does.
And then I'm going, bing, never even thought of that. Right? There's so many ways to get the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what that's a reason that I love real estate, is because you get to pick what you're good at. And that's what I always recommend to people is find something that you actually enjoy doing for lead generation. Yeah, because that's going to make it more sustainable, right?
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Some people, they prefer to cold call. Some people would prefer to door knock. Some people would prefer to sit behind a camera and make content. Some people would prefer to just work their sphere constantly, maybe going out to events, or maybe a little bit of all of that, right? Maybe you like, a bit of variety, so you're going to do a little bit of all of that.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong answer, as long as you're finding something that works for you.
Right. Yeah, I think it's finding what you like to do, because there's no point of, like, I personally, I don't mind cold calling, but I don't like door knocking for residential customers, right? Because that's not something I enjoy. But I had to try it to be able to say, oh, I actually don't enjoy it, right?
Right.
So find something that you like to do and then just excel at it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and for me, that's been the content. That's been content for me from almost day one, in a way, because I was always using social media, like I said, with my past businesses. So just kind of transitioned from running a business page on Instagram, and then I started kind of promoting what I was doing, and just shifted my focus to then promoting, if I was out at a listing, I'd kind of make all this content about that. And that's really how I got my business off the ground. And that's really how I've managed to grow my business, has strictly been social media.
Right.
And, the nice thing is you can put videos out there that talk when you're out doing other things.
Yes.
So like I'll look at my YouTube stats, and still there's it's not huge, but let's say 80 hours of watch time, and I think that's roughly like 2 to 3 hours a day of watch time. So it's like 2 to 3 hours a day. That's like some lead generation. And that's with a channel that's been fairly inactive. If we're being completely honest, that's a channel that's not seen much activity in the last 6 months.
Right.
And looking to change that. So even like, that's where I'm starting from. And it's almost like, going back to what you said, we're never starting from scratch. We're always starting from experience.
Yes.
So even every time that you get back into something, that you do something, you're learning from all the past experience that you have.
Right.
And just like anything, it's reps.
Yeah.
The more reps you do at something, the better you end up getting at it.
Right.
Yeah. So where do I want to go from here? Let's how are we doing on time?
Oh, good.
Good? Okay. There's so many different ways we could take this between your building experience, some of the community stuff. Let's talk about some of the community things that you do, Jas, because you do a lot in the community.
Yeah.
You do a lot in the community here. If somebody's looking to kind of grow their business a little bit by doing things in the community, like what are some things that you'd recommend to people? Like how have you seen some success with some of the things that you've done in the community? Because I know that you'll do different events. You'll bring like mortgage brokers in, things along those lines, different seminars, and I see some people doing that. But what's been kind of your experience with some of the community stuff? But then also too, you do a lot even on the leadership side of speaking at different events, and then networking. You go to a lot of local events, and then also outside of St. John too, because you're in between Ontario as well.
Correct.
And so there's a lot of learning all over.
Yeah.
So what's some of that look like for you?
I think so. Again, like we were talking about finding a niche. I think when we moved here from Toronto in 2008, we were like the first year was depressing. Like, it was hard because you're coming from a big city. And in that time, St. John was not what it is today, right? This is it was 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah, there's been a lot of change in St.
Lot of
John
changes,
in the last
Yes.
2 decades. Yeah.
So at that point, being an East Indian, we celebrate a lot of festivals, right? But then you come here, there's no temple, there's nothing happening. So then somebody has to say, okay, let's all do it together. Just take the lead, right? So that's how it started. So back in the days, we'll do small events. We'll rent church halls, community centers, whatever we could get at a reasonable price. The big one for us was there was a church on Daniel Avenue in Milledgeville, which has been demolished now. There's an apartment building on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a lot of memories there. So that's where it all started. Then my kids, they went to Island View on the west side.
Okay.
So we did a lot of volunteer work there too, like, lunch duties, fun day duties. And then that's how you really get accepted in the community, because you can't just move from somewhere and just, stay at home and expect that, oh yeah, I'm going to be part of this community in no time. It doesn't work like that, right? You basically, it's a two-way street.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
It's a two-way street.
It
Yes.
is 100%. And that kind of got me into just the realization saying, oh, I actually really enjoy it, right? So then I became board member on of other associations, like Indo-Canadian Association, Merit Construction Benefits Association. I was on the board for the Project Management Institute here for a little bit. And then eventually, of course, as it's getting too much, right, when you serve on this board, then you kind of step down and do other things. So I think it's important for our business, not just from the business perspective, even as a person, I need to know what's going on in my community, right? Because if I have somebody moving from Ontario, Alberta, even US, right, or an immigrant from another country, I should be able to tell them what we have to offer, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
for that, I need to understand how it is to be a newcomer. Because when we came, we were out of province. It wasn't a different country, but those times were different. So now,
Yes, yeah.
so I do mentor at the UNB MBA program, because a lot of MBA students, they want to go in sales or marketing. So I coach them, get them ready for interviews. Newcomer Center as well. So the St. John Newcomer Center, I mentor a lot of newcomers. That just helps me just from the personal level, saying, okay, I'm giving back to my community. And I think it's very important, because when people see you everywhere, people see you being part of the community, they start to trust you more, right? Your name is familiar, your face is familiar. Now I get invites saying, oh, we have this event, please join us, right? And it feels good. It feels
100%.
like, okay, I am an important person, one of the important people in the community, at least I feel like that, because, it's Newcomer Center, UNB, schools, whatever, Indian community. I try to do my part wherever I can.
Yeah.
And I think we've gotten a lot from this city, from this place. So if we give back, that's a pleasure that we get.
I love that, Jas. You just said so many valuable things. And the two-way street, that's huge, because it's you're pouring back into the community, and then in return, people then, like you said,
Right.
you build connections with people, and then now you're building trust, because you're setting up because it takes a lot of work to do any event, even if you're just going to an event that you're speaking at. That's a lot to prepare and make sure that you know and that you're going to say stuff that's going to be valuable for that event and for that crowd, and planning all those things. It's all a lot of work that somebody could look at and go, geez, that's all extra. But it's these things that we do extra that pour back into the community. That's what creates that two-way street of building more connections, getting more trust.
Right.
Something else you said that I really want to dive into. It's funny because you said it at the start of the podcast, but you said, I did not have the mindset to fail. There was no option of failing.
Yeah.
And I love that you have that mindset. And you can tell in every conversation that we've ever had, you can tell that is a philosophy that you live by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about that for a minute. Talk about the rock solid mindset of never failing and how important that is in business. Maybe where you got it, but if somebody doesn't have it, like what are some things that they could use to get that solid mindset of failing's not an option?
Right. I think it's a personal choice, Brandon.
Yeah.
I think everybody has that quality, right? It's a commitment. If you commit saying, I'm not failing, I just can't go back from here, right? When I quit the corporate world, a lot of people said to me right to my face, and in a nice way, right? Because not everybody's business minded. A lot of my friends even said, not the right decision, just think over it again. And I'm like, no, I did, right? Because if I don't do it now, I'll regret all my life saying, I never gave it a try.
And do you think they were saying that almost out of maybe they didn't believe that they could achieve what you were looking to achieve? Because sometimes it's almost people saying it out of, if I tell someone I ran a marathon, they go, oh, I could never do that. And I'm thinking, oh, if you trained, you could.
You could. Everybody could, right?
I mean, I'm not special. I'm not a naturally gifted runner by any means.
No. And it's not, people do, wish well for you. It's not negative or anything like that, but it's just people think from their perspective, right? A lot of people are comfortable with, I'm getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, right? I have a stable job. Like, I was a program manager with JDI. It was a big role. It wasn't just a starter IT job. So a lot of my friends actually cared and said, oh, are you sure? Because I was starting something that's all commission. And commission based on how much I work, right?
There was a lot of risk.
Risk.
And you were in a very good spot prior too, right?
Yeah.
So that's even a big leap as well. And I've talked to many agents who have done similar leaps as that as well too.
Right. And when you take a decision like that, you just don't have that option. And plus, when I did this, I had 2 preteen girls, actually 1 teen, 1 preteen, that they knew, because we discussed as a family, okay, this is what we're going to do, right? Because they were young, but not as young, right? So they knew what was going on. So I have 2 girls, and I want them to be very independent financially as well, have a strong personality, and be very successful in life. And usually, mothers are role models of their daughters. So for me, I take extra pressure with that, because I don't want my kids to see, oh my God, my mom tried it, but she failed. I just do not want them to see that. So that was one thing that was my drive. I'm sure everybody has a drive, right?
100%.
We all have a reason.
Yeah.
We have to look at what that reason looks like, right?
Right.
So now my daughter's gone to Ontario on her own, second year of university now, and she's thriving. Like socially, academically, even she's evolved as a person, her personality. Every time she comes home now, I see, oh my God, she's in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of bothers me sometimes because I'm still used to her being my little girl,
you have to get to know her in a new way.
Yes.
Because they're growing and new pieces of them are flourishing.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, so that was my drive, right?
That's such a powerful why. That's such a powerful why.
It is.
A lot of people say it's the why that's going to drive you in the moments where you can't find the motivation yourself, right? And you found something that was so meaningful to you, and I have like chills just listening to that, because that's such a powerful why of not only doing it for your family, but doing it so that you can set the example of kind of what your family's able to achieve.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, Brandon, another thing that makes a difference is your lifestyle, right? Yeah. We set a lifestyle, and based on how much money we make, right? And that goes up as you grow in life and your career, right? So same thing, like I have people ask me, oh, why do you work so much? I like expensive stuff. I like travel, which is not cheap.
Yep.
And I like expensive stuff. For me to maintain that, I love what I do, right? So for me, it's important that I work, because otherwise I'm not able to maintain the lifestyle I have. And I did the same thing for my kids.
Right.
So they both are used to everything high end. They get what they want, whatever. But they know, I told them, I said, if you want to maintain that lifestyle, you have to become something in life, because I'll be doing it for a little bit. As soon as you're done university, you're out of college, school, whatever, I'm out. right? So at that point, if you want to maintain the luxury lifestyle you have to become somebody, and they have that drilled in their brains now. Right. So I think it's important for anybody is to combine your personal goals and your professional goals and see how best you can amalgamate them and then just keep moving forward.
And try to align them so that they're moving in a similar direction.
100%.
Absolutely. The last thing you would ever want is for your career to be pushing or pointing you in a different direction than your personal goals. Because that's going to be a tug of war that you'll always be fighting with. And you definitely don't want that. And that's so powerful. I love that we got into that about your mindset.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to understand and realize that real estate is a commitment for a family. It is not just you as a realtor, because when I was getting in, I remember first 2 years, I almost worked 7 days a week, right? Yeah. And, you got kids at home, you got a husband at home, you need family time and all that, which was sacrificed a lot in my initial real estate years. Mm-hmm. So it is a commitment where your family says, oh, no, we're fine. You go do what you need to do. We'll handle this, right?
Right.
So that's another thing. A lot of people coming in, they don't realize that it's a change, actually a family situation change. As soon as you do a career change and become a realtor, I think your whole family takes a 360-degree turn, really.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a huge commitment for everybody around you, for sure. And that's why time blocking is so important too, right?
100%.
And also setting professional boundaries within your business too.
Right.
And then knowing when it's important to have some flex on those boundaries, but then knowing, there's times and seasons for everything. So, that's the time blocking for me was something that really helped add some structure into real estate, because it can feel chaotic at times. Because if you don't build your schedule out, then it's going to feel like everybody else has control of what you're doing that day. You're just waking up and being reactive.
Yes.
When if you start to build a schedule, then now you're being proactive, and then you block your appointments around the other important things that you have going on in your life. And sometimes that might be, maybe a doctor's appointment or something, or maybe it's going for a massage, doing a little bit of something for you for a minute so that you can then show up after that much better for all of your clients too, right?
Refresh,
And you can't pour from an empty cup. So then it's learning how to manage all of that time so that you're being and coming into all of your appointments the best version of yourself.
Right.
Anytime you're talking to somebody, so that you don't have all these other things on your mind, and it's not a stressful thing where they're talking and you're not actually listening because you have a bunch of other things on your mind, right?
Exactly.
So it's just super important for us to find balance in our own life, and then I think it all comes down to the time blocking, which is one of the probably biggest things that's helped me manage everything in my business, I would say.
Yeah, because as a realtor, if you don't respect your time, nobody else will, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
If you're going to answer your phone at 10 o'clock at night, people will be like, oh, yeah, it's just Brandon. Call him anytime, right? It's just, I think even it's a way of respect, saying, like, after 8, usually, unless I'm negotiating an offer or there's something that I know is happening important, I'll call you back tomorrow morning.
Right. And you're not going to get a hold of a doctor at 8 p.m. You're not going to get, most lawyers generally aren't answering their phone. Now they may, because somebody could be in prison or whatever, and they have to do that as well. But
yeah, that's a different problem.
That's a different problem. No, exactly. Well, let's start to land this plane. But before we do, I want to, because you have so much insight, and I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit for, let's say, some agents who maybe so let's say there's some agents watching this and they didn't have the best year this year. Because I've talked to a lot of agents and they've said, like, this year's been a little bit of a miss for them. What would you say to those agents? What are some things that you've done, or some suggestions that you might have for real estate agents that may not have had their best year?
Right. Again, business is like this, right? We're going to have ups and downs, and especially real estate business. And a lot of us were spoiled in COVID because we didn't really have to work, right, as hard. deals
Things were easy.
coming. Yeah, everything was easy.
And easy,
Well,
right?
nothing is easy. Like,
right,
you know,
right.
it's
Easier than
Yeah.
prior to COVID.
100%, because prior to COVID, you had to work your business, right?
Listing
And
sat for like 6 months.
100%. And now COVID hit, all of a sudden, realtors are busy, people not getting back to clients, the clients calling, whoever answers their call first, right? They'll go with that realtor. So it was nice, but we all knew it was a bubble, right? Now that time is gone.
Yep.
We're back to somewhat reality. It's still a good market, and I think it's going to be a good market for another 3 to 5 years, based on how things are going. But anybody who didn't have a good year this year, it was a slow year for a lot of realtors. I think it's because, we got complacent maybe, or we kept trying things that didn't work for us. So if this wasn't your best year, just reflect. Sometimes you just need to reflect. Go back and say, we did this exercise, I think it was my first or second year, where I made a list of, so I did 54 deals in my first year. So we
Wild.
made a list, and because of course from my accountability sheet, I had every deal right there. So I went back as part of my goal setting for the following year.
54 years, or 54 deals in your first year, and that was part-time?
No, that
Okay.
was full-time, my
Okay.
full-time first year.
Got you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went back and said, okay, how did I get these people? So beside every deal that I did, I had social media, networking, cold calling, and then, about 65% of my business came from networking, right?
Yes,
So what
there
I
you
would
go.
say is, to any agent, if it's not working for you, just go sit down, try to figure out, okay, in the last couple of years, how did you get your most of the business?
Right.
And maybe that's what you excel at. And right now, maybe your efforts are, you're putting in efforts, but they're not going in the right direction. Or maybe that's not something for you. Because if I do start door knocking now, I know I'm probably not going to be the best at it because I don't enjoy it. If you do something just for the sake of doing, don't do it. So just, I would say self-reflect and just have a coach, like somebody that you can talk to. So I had, in my first 2 years of real estate, I had a coach. I talked to her every 2 weeks, right? Looked at my goals, what I did, what do I need to do differently, what's working, what's not working, right? And it doesn't have to be super expensive. That's one thing I really like about eXp is coming back to the collaboration point of view, is here, now I've got 4 agents that are under me. I'm the sponsor of 4 agents.
Right.
And, any of those 4 agents can come to me anytime and say, okay, Jas, I'm struggling even writing an offer or struggling with business. We just sit down and have a good conversation from a different point of view.
Right.
Right. So I am a certified mentor with eXp. So fortunately for me, I can be a mentor for them as well, along with their sponsor. Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So find
Absolutely.
somebody like that maybe in your organization.
Exactly, and how eXp they'll incentivize the collaboration, right? And that's something that I absolutely love too. Is coming from a military background, having a camaraderie is super important, and I find that we have a very great culture here in St. John with our group. And, like you said, you're sponsoring agents. A lot of the agents in St. John are sponsoring other agents.
Yeah.
And then we're all working together.
Right.
Right. And we're all actually invested into each other's growth, which is huge.
Yes.
If there was an agent right now, Jas, on the fence, wondering about eXp, what would you say to them with your experience over the last year at eXp? What would you say to an agent who has been hearing about it, might be thinking about it, but they're just on the fence right now?
Yeah, so everybody's different, right? When I met with Evan and you, both of you, right? I looked at the model. I looked at, the pros and cons. Basically, I worked that out. I think in just over a week, I decided that I'm moving, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm just a business person, right? If
Yes.
things make sense, I pull the trigger.
Right. For a
Not
lot of
every-
people, it's an emotional
Correct.
decision. And
Correct.
for you, it was very logical.
But yeah, right? And
Once-
I'm very happy with my decision. I'm happy that I did it. Now, for somebody who is on the fence, or even from the emotional perspective, Brandon, what I would say is, at the end of the day, it's your business, right? You have to see what's right, what's wrong. No matter what brokerage it is, traditional brokerage, cloud-based brokerage, whatever that is, see what value you're getting. We all know it's a small community. We all like people that we work with. I've had some people tell me, oh, I'm really close with my broker. But you know what? Just think about it. A year later, when you are excelling in another brokerage, would your broker today still be your best friend? Probably not, right? Yeah. I think it's all friendship or relationship based on business. And if you take your business away, that probably will go sideways. And also, a year later, you see how much more money you've put in your pocket and how you have grown as a person with technology, collaboration, mentoring, that you just can't beat those things. A lot of people think, oh, I need an office. Sure, I need an office too. Luckily, I have an office.
Yep.
But if that's something that's stopping somebody, I think that's a very small detail. We have a big office that I've offered to people that are under me at eXp.
Right,
saying,
absolutely.
hey, listen, I'm more than happy to share my office. Just drop by anytime. Another agent just got a rental in Milledgeville. He got an office building on monthly rental. Yeah. So, he's offering any agents that comes under him saying, hey, drop by the office, right? So I think at the end of the day, you have to see what's in it for you. Run your numbers, see what you're getting from your current brokerage. Because for me personally, one big thing was social media.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting a lot of help. I wanted to do videos. I wanted to do more of these things. I just didn't know what platform, and not to blame the brokerage I was with. They were great to work with, but they just didn't specialize in any of these. The technology, the training was not there, right? So with coming to eXp now with Mike Sherrard, we have YouTube course. We have TikTok course. We have Instagram course. So I did the YouTube one. I've set up my channel step by step with how he told us to do it. Right. And it's amazing. Like everything is there. It's up to you how much you want to capitalize on, right?
Absolutely. And it even goes into the mindset that you should have when you hit record on the camera and all these things. And then also too, like, they'll explain how you have to have the humility of going, it's not going to be perfect at first, but just getting started, right. and then putting yourself out there. Then that's what builds the reps, and that's what helps you get better. Like anybody could go back and watch my first videos. They're almost embarrassing to watch, but it's like I started, and it was because of Mike Sherrard. It's because of the training through the Social Agent Academy that I watched that taught me how to set up, how to plan a video out, what softwares to use. Right. And I mean, they'll break it down from whether you're, working with a, $200 budget, if you have no budget but just a cell phone, or if you're looking to buy some expensive cameras. There's a pathway for everybody in there. Yeah. And it's just a matter of going out there and learning and then starting to take the action, right? That's the biggest thing, is taking action on all the things that we have to learn. Right. And you get to pick which platforms it is, because, there's YouTube, and that's its own program. And then there's the Instagram, and they're all taught by the practitioners in there. And I just think it's huge, because these are all things that people want to be good at, but a lot of us don't have the proper guidance, because we're in St. John, a little bit old school here. Right. There's not a lot of people like absolutely like crushing it on a lot of these platforms. I remember when I started doing YouTube, next to no real estate agent was doing it. Yeah. And, it's kind of everyone's kind of looking at me, raising an eyebrow, going like, what are you doing? Yeah. But it's like, I knew there was something there, because it's like, this is early. Like, and I knew I was early and coming into it then. And there was a little bit of an advantage for coming in and being one of the first ones. Yes. Right. So that's the important part. Just like we've been talking about ChatGPT with the Wolfpack for like 2 years. Right. We're having conversations that are way ahead of the curve. And then, I'll hear other coaches a year later start to talk about things that we've been talking about for a year. Yeah. And these being in these inner circles of leaders and having these communication channels through our weekly calls are just huge. And then little things that we take away and we start to implement them into our business can then compound years down the road. Yeah. And I think it's the drive too, because I find getting on these calls, it just
as I said, we all get complacent, right? We get comfortable. Every time you join these mastermind calls, it's like, okay, let's focus on this week. Like, there's something that keeps going. And I've found with some traditional brokers, the drive is not the same. Right? The sales meetings are, oh yeah, this is the market stats. Anybody has any issue, multiple offers, how to deal with them. And then, oh, thank you for coming. Right.
Right.
So I just think it's the drive. It's a big difference because everybody here is with the similar mindset, which is how do we grow?
Yes.
Right.
Right. And that's all you hear our group talking about. We've had some agents take part in some of our calls, and they say things like, "I just love how you guys are talking about how to grow," and that's it. Right.
That's it.
There's zero drama. It's how can we have a conversation that's going to provide some value to people, right? And then even when we all get together at some of the local events that we do, the mastermind that happens from that, just from us being around each other, can be incredible too. So it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded individuals, especially in a business like real estate that we're wearing so many hats, doing so many different things, and there's so many different options you can take. You can almost be paralyzed by how many options there are to get business. And it's just a matter of finding what's good for you. And coming over to eXp and surrounding myself with the Wolfpack has been huge, has been just, a game changer, because now I've grown a business that I'm actually happy with, where clients are reaching out to me and they already have a sense of who I am because of the content that I put out. They already know my communication style. They're already familiar with me. I've had one client call me and we had a 2-minute conversation, and he wanted me to list his house. It was my first time ever talking to him, and he called. He said, "I've been watching your videos, and I want you to sell my 4-unit." He said, "I just had a kid. I live in he was in BC."
Yeah.
And he's like, I just had a child. I'm super busy. I don't have time for this anymore. I want you to sell it for me. And I start talking to him.
Right.
And he goes, "Brandon, I already know who you are. When I say I don't have time, I don't. Send me the documents."
Right.
He goes, "Just send me the documents. I trust you."
Yeah.
And it was literally, I looked at this. I think it was the shortest amount of time it took me from meeting a client to getting a listing. It was like a 3-minute conversation. And
because
it's like
when
that
you're not
really.
Working, your social media is working. When you're sleeping, your social media is still on.
Right.
Right? So once you put your content out there, it's there forever. Right. So that's really, really good.
Super powerful, right?
Yeah.
And it's all stuff that we learn here. So and then just surrounding ourselves, with agents like yourself and all the agents that we have here locally too. I think we're growing an amazing culture.
Yes.
And super, super happy with it to be growing as fast as we are with the agents that we are too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you got to get to a showing.
Yes, no, that's great. It was great chatting.
Yep.
And again, thank you for having me, and look forward to many more years of success like this.
You're very welcome. And if any agents are out there looking to partner with Jas, she has a wealth of experience and would be happy to set up conversations. So I'll leave links to your social media and stuff below.
That would be
on
wonderful.
On the YouTube video.
Yes.
And then we'll clip this up for the social media. But besides that, thank you very, very much.
No problem.